Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Bulls vs Stormers game was abandoned earlier this evening, but the result stands, and therefore the Bulls claimed a whopping 39-6 victory against a very poor, very ill-disciplined and very lackluster Stormers side. And I think there's quite a lot of cause for concern with the Stormers because they just don't look like a very good side at the moment, despite having so many good big names. But before we break down the match a bit further, please do consider subscribing. Bottom right-hand corner, smash a like as well. Jump in the comments, let me know what you thought of the contest. Right, so the game was brought to a pause because of a thunderstorm which had come in and made the conditions unsafe to play against, and the players went off and during the time agreed to call the game off and end the game where it stood, which is not a particularly hard decision because, with so few minutes left and such a big deficit, there was no way the Stormers was going to win that game. But before we talk about how bad the Stormers are, have to talk about how good the Bulls are. And after first 2 weeks didn't look particularly good. They really struggled against the Greek because they then got deservedly beaten by the Cheetahs. But since then, they've turned it around, and now we are finally seeing maybe the Jake White revolution. They are playing like a side which want to dominate South African rugby and to become the best team in South African rugby, like they're always supposed to. Like they keep saying it, they are the biggest franchise, they've got the most money. But they are finally starting to produce on the pitch, and they were fantastic today. I mean, it started off as quite an even game. A couple of poor penalties from either side. 6-6, the game's still in the balance. But then the Bulls just turned on their heat, and Stormers had no answer. Bulls were just ripping them apart. They were slipping tackles. They were finding space. I mean, Ivan van Zyl set up basically the second try, and for the smallest person in the team, he slipped 4 tackles en route to scoring the try. So John Dobson that's a good thing he doesn't have any hair, because he would have pulled it all out having watched that game, because it was just appalling from the Stormers. And we're going to look at more of the player stats into it, because this is a team that boasts an all-Springbok front row, that has one of the most promising fly halves in the country, has a World Cup winner as their scrum off. There's so many good players in the side. Why is it that they are just playing so badly? And we're going to go into more of the stats here, but I think before then, let's just look at the Bulls. And credit to the Bulls, because they've really stepped things around. And I think today they dominated from the front, from the get-go. Their packs, the tight five on paper were pretty even, but the Bulls really did step up. And if you look at now the way they scored the tries, the fact that 2 tries came from the forwards from very impressive and from a very nice driving maul, shows you how much the Bulls have just sort of across the park were just better. Through 1 through 15, they were just a much better side. In terms of looking at the backline, Stefan Gantz, another brace, and it's just been the weekend of outside centres really, because we saw how good Similani was. A really good performance by the Pumas outside centre, as well as now Stefan Gantz, who scored another brace today. And he 2 clean breaks, 2 defenders beaten, 2 tries. Carried the ball 31 meters. He was very, very impressive. And I also think that Mornay Steyn looked like a whole different player today. Look, he's been playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of maturity in this game, but today it was almost like a Mornay Steyn masterclass. He only missed 1 kick, and he just was doing everything right. He was dictating the way the game went. He was kicking well, and the Stormers just had no answer to what the Bulls were doing. And we're going to go to the defense statistics here, but I think what's been quite interesting is how well the Bulls pack has stood up, especially the outside, the loose trio. And you look at the work rate. Marco van Staden and Albert Lowe, for all they are the foil to Dwayne Vermeulen, between them they made 19 tackles before the end of the match. And Jason Jenkins making 8. So the pack is just really, really performing really well. And when you look at the missed tackles, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Bulls players missed tackles, with only 2 of them missing more than 1. You move on to the Stormers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 players missed tackles. And just 1, 2, and just 4 out of 11 missed only 1. Everybody else missed more than 2 tackles. So that's you can't expect to ever win rugby matches if you're missing so many tackles. Francois Malherbe was the standout defender with 10 tackles and not 1 missed. But, those are just the small, not really small, but how can you expect to win a match when you're missing so many tackles? And the Bulls just exploited that. And for a side which has always supposedly been quite conservative and very much a kicking game, today they played a really nice brand of rugby. They were throwing it out wide. They were happy to run with the ball. Creel looks to run for the ball from the back. Cornel Hendricks is looking fantastic at inside centre. What a transition that has been. He's big. He's a hard runner. He's quite a clever player. You can see that bit of that sevens. And him and Stephen Gans are starting to form a really, really good partnership. But you go look at the game as a whole. 5 tries the Bulls scored. And, just some of the statistics which sort of show you. But, so 79 tackles to 78. They made the same amount of tackles, but the Bulls missed 11 tackles to the Stormers' 18. And, those are the small sort of margins which show you. And also, Bulls were really good at scrum time. They won 5 turnovers to the 1 from Stormers. Not scrum time, at ruck time. So they're very good at the breakdown. They were quick to the breakdown, and they pretty much just outplayed Stormers in every facet of the game. And Stormers kept trying to get into the game, but just couldn't execute the basics. And that is a similar problem that we're seeing with the Pumas, where they have moments of positives, but they just can't make them count really, and can't convert them into points. And I thought that Damien Willemse, when he first started, I thought was very impressive. And for the first time, I actually sort of sit there saying, well, there's the Damien Willemse that's a fly half. He was kicking quite well. His kicking tactically was quite impressive, but then not much in the form of running from the Stormers, and the backline didn't do much except try and tackle unsuccessfully try and tackle. Every single backline player missed a tackle tonight from the Stormers. So, you can't take anything away from the Bulls, but what you can say is the Stormers were very, very poor, and the commentators were saying they just look dead in their feet. They don't look conditioned. They don't look very sharp. I think the Pumas were very poor last weekend to have lost that game, and I think the Stormers, won a game they never should. And even against the Lions, you can argue the Lions outplayed them, and all the Stormers did was just take the couple opportunities they had and made them count. But the Lions were, for the majority of the game, outplayed them, and now a massive thrashing at the hands of the Bulls, and there's big problems in the Stormers. So, it's just if all we know, if the game had actually finished, there could have been even more points. But I think for the Bulls, favorite to the tournament. They have to, at this stage, they look like they're going to go on and do some big things. Look, we haven't seen what the Cheetahs are going to do. Obviously, they didn't play last weekend, didn't play this weekend, so they were the form side. But now it is definitely the Bulls who sort of established themselves as favorite. Whereas the Stormers, I think, would be very lucky to qualify at this stage if they keep playing like this. And there are a lot of issues because Sia Khaleesi was saying that they were always underperformed, and right now they look like a team that is still going to underperform, that is still struggling to really step up, which makes no sense with the players on the field. So lots of big things to sort out in the Stormers. They'll travel back to Cape Town with a lot to do. It was a bit of a weird game, but and another big high-scoring game. We've seen a lot of tries at the moment, which makes for some very nice, watchable rugby. But so please, if you're on YouTube, please do consider subscribing. Bottom right hand corner there. Please smash a like as well and share. Turn your notifications on. We really do appreciate all the support. Thank you very much for watching. Team of the week, which is going to be a very difficult pick this weekend, as well as reaction over the next couple of days. So make sure you keep it locked on Forever Sports. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen Pettit, and I'll chat to you soon.